Hey guys, I'm Jay, and today I have a damn handsome knife for you to look at. It's the Ken Onion designed CRKT Shenanigan. But first, let's start out with the features, then I'll show you some specs. We'll talk about pros and cons, and then we'll finish with a recommendation, so that hopefully at that point, you'll know if this knife is right for you or not. The Shenanigan is a manual action liner lock that is very flickable and let's just say sort of drop shuttable. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of shake and bake. The detent is very, very strong as I am unable to shake this guy loose, and CRKT was kind enough to include a sharpening choil on the Shenanigan. Thank you very much. Did you notice the liners? Now, they are just partial liners in there, and on the lock side, they are actually nested. Kind of like the Kershaw Blur. If we look at the back side now, you'll see that the Shenanigan is actually closed construction, and I believe, let's see if I can do this. Yes, sir. Just like most knives, it is actually wider than a pencil. The balance is just fantastic. Excellent. The clip is tip down only. Can you believe that? Tip down only for righties. So that's great. And on top of all that, it's not a deep carry pocket clip, but there are actually two areas of jimping on the Shenanigan, one of which will be here on the handle spine up towards the top, and then if we flip it over, right on the liner lock. The centering is pretty good, not perfect, but it's close. It's just a hair to the left. Now you're not going to see the stop pin because it is actually internal, and once the blade is deployed, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is actually locking up at about 75%. I don't know how I feel about that. There is a kind of a small lanyard hole, and there are a few different variations of the Shenanigan. You could actually get, there's a black handled glass filled nylon. There is a camouflage that, you know, like that real tree hunting camouflage, which is also glass filled nylon. And it even comes in a Tonto style drop point, of course. And you can get that in either plain or combo edge. The different kinds of finishes of the Shenanigan, you can find them with a bead blast finish or with, as you see here, the black DLC. Why don't we go ahead and get a weight on this? 3.9 ounces. That's pretty good. That's actually going to be the equivalent of roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 AA batteries. Not bad. Now, since today is the Ken Onion show, I went ahead and brought in some other knives for size comparison, and also so you could see some of the design similarities. Now, this is the Kershaw Cyclone, which is discontinued. This is the Insight by CRKT, of course the Shenanigan, the Hijinks by CRKT, and by Kershaw, the Oh So Sweet. So what do you think? Do you guys want to see some specs? Okay, here you go. Now, since the Shenanigan is not a perfect knife, there's going to be some pros and cons. So let's start with some good stuff. Well, first, I've got to say, I mean, it is just a damn handsome knife. Aesthetically speaking, I really do like the colors, the gray and the black. that they decided to use. Very, very nice. The ergos are excellent. Excellent. I mean, it almost seems like that this knife was like custom made for my hand, just because of how well it just fits. It's great. The action is excellent. I mean, very, very authoritative deployment there. And again, that's going back to the detent. The detent is just right, because since this is a manual action, you know, you've got to build up that force by pushing on the flipper, and then by the time the detent lets go, bam, there she is. What did we say the weight was? About 3.9 ounces. That's pretty darn good. The blade steel, AUS 8, it's okay. I mean, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's better than HCR13 MOV, I mean, in my opinion. So it's AUS 8, it's not too bad. I'll just leave it at that. Now, the Shenanigan is actually an excellent slicer, because it is thin behind the edge there. And the hollow grind also aids with that excellent slicing action. I really do like the size of this blade. 3 1/4 inches. I just think that that is perfect. Perfect EDC size. Now, unfortunately, we got to get into the bad stuff about the Shenanigan, and I'm going to start this section out with, well, the pocket clip. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this one position, tip down only for righties. Come on. I mean, Ken, man, I love your knives, but just some of these pocket clips are just killing me. Now, the action of the Shenanigan is actually, it took me a little bit to get it dialed in to where I like it. I had to loosen the pivot screw quite a bit, almost to the point where I'm actually surprised that there is no blade play, because I did have to loosen it that much. Now, since this blade is kind of a thin slicer, it's going to have a somewhat delicate tip. So I just want you to be aware of that, and, you know, be careful. Now, some of these screws that they used on the molded inlays, I really wish they would have just hidden those screws underneath the inlays. But you know what? At least they used black screws, right? Now, the blade to handle ratio is not the best. What did we say? 3 1/4 inch blade, and the handle is actually about 4.875 inches. So yeah, that ratio is just off, just a hair. What do you guys think the Shenanigan goes for? Well, my version is actually $65. Now, the other variations that I had mentioned earlier, those of course are cheaper. You're looking at about like 30 to 40 bucks for those. But for this aluminum, gray aluminum handled Shenanigan, 65 bucks. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, it's a little steep, I think. You know, it's AUS 8 blade steel, just like the $30 and $40 Shenanigans. So I'm not really sure where the extra cost is being. Where was that money spent here in the design of this? I mean, is it in the molded inlays? Because you could take those, you know what I mean, and reduce the price. So at 65 bucks, you know, I would feel really, really good about this knife at 50, 45, 50. I would feel really, really good. Don't get me wrong, I still love this knife. I mean, this knife actually sits in one of my knife cases where I keep all of my well, favorite folders, and this is actually one of them. But $65, I really think that they could do a little bit better than that. Now, my recommendation is kind of going to be, well, like a twofold answer. I would say you should definitely buy one of the other less expensive versions, because really it's the same blade steel. The handle material is a little different, but $65 for this, I mean, you're not really getting anything more for 65 bucks than if you spent 30 on one of the base models. So absolutely though, 30 bucks for a glass-filled nylon handled Shenanigan, Aus 8 steel, sure, why not? $65, I mean, if money isn't an issue for you, then yeah, because this is just damn handsome. Absolutely. So I of course want to leave you guys with a question. What's your favorite Ken Onion designed knife? Now, it doesn't matter which manufacturer, CRKT, Kershaw, ZT, whatever. Just what is your favorite Ken Onion knife? And I'll tell you what mine is. It's going to be the CRKT Foresight. I love this knife. It doesn't get much pocket time, but I do love this knife. So yes, please post your answers in the comment section below. And if you are looking to add some more stuff to your collection, more knives of course, or you're just that guy that works outside and you're looking for that one really good knife tool, then please click on subscribe, because I'm constantly uploading new videos several times a week. And if this video answered most of your questions about the Shenanigan, then go ahead and leave a like. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by and letting me talk knives with you, and I will see you guys at the next video. You guys take care, okay?